ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಫೈನಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್?
ಇಲ್ಮಾ
ಫೈನಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್
ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಡೇನೇ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ. ಮೇ ಬಿ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ದೆನ್ ಅಗೇನ್ after the last working day only, your lab exam will be there. 1 week after that. Usually
Yes,
how you
ma'am.
had in your first and second semester, no? The same thing.
ಎಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ನೀವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಮ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಟೆಂಡ್
ಓಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಲ್ವಾ? ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸೆಮ್ ಇಂದ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಎಲ್ಲ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್. ಎಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಬರೀ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಮ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು.
ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೆ ಬಂದಿರೋ ತರಾನೇ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಇನ್ ಮಿಕ್ಕಿರೋ ಒನ್ ಇಯರ್ ಫುಲ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಒಂದಿನಾನು ಬಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ.
ಎಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಎಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಕಾಣಿಸಿಲ್ಲ.
We'll wait another 2 minutes. Yes, students, can you see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, out of 50 students, only 28 students are there. What about the remaining students? When I start taking attendance, no, that time they'll start joining for the class. Gangubai is there? Is she there in the class? Gangubai? Gangubai, you call me after the class.
Okay.
Yes, students, in last class, we were seeing about the system testing. I gave you some of the examples. Before we start doing any work, we'll check the system. We'll check the system. The same thing before we go to purchase a pre-owned car. First we'll check if is there any difficulty. I mean, is there any fault in the is the system is the car is working properly or not? We check. So here in the same thing in software testing also, when we go for system testing, here everything we see, students, I told in yesterday's class, I was discussing about threads. See, threads, I told whatever the functionality we execute, that execution is nothing but a thread. If I log into any website with my credentials, with my username and password credentials, then that login is also nothing but a threading of execution of some thread, because something is happening, something is running. Once I give the login ID and password, I'll be, if both are matching, then it will allow me to log into the home page. So what we do, we check whether the log before, assume that I'm developing a application or program in a project. So before I give that project to my customer, what I do, I check everything. I check each functionality. Correct? No? In the last class, in the previous topic, we learned the integration testing. In integration testing, what happens? Smaller units will be combined together, and those units will be and those combined system will be tested. Now we are in the system testing. Now in the system testing, what happens? Here we don't have any smaller component. Separately we are not testing. A complete unit, a complete system will be a bundle of project will be tested. When we check a complete project, there we have to check each functionality. If I am giving any registration form, in the registration form, whether it is taking all the fields or not, all the if I have given any, if I have done any validations like validations, phone number by mistake, if I miss any number instead of mobile number, generally the mobile numbers will be having um, uh, 10 digits, exactly 10 digits, not lesser than 10 and not more than 10. The validation of that text box should be how it should not take a text box, the input should not take less than 10 or greater than 10, like that. If I did the validation, so based on the validation, whether it is taking complete proper input or not, we have to check. In the system testing, we check each functionality. We check whatever the functionality we have added in our project, everything we check. See, the most common example is ATM machine. ATM machine, so many times we have discussed. So every right from the insertion of a ATM card into the ATM machine, from till the removal of the ATM card from the ATM machine, everything will be tested. PIN number, balance inquiry, mini statement, withdraw, everything we are going to check. See, students, the system testing is very much important. Once you develop a project without system testing, you cannot give your project to the customers. Correct? No, without I gave you the simple example. When your mother prepared a rice at home, so she'll check whether the rice has cooked properly or not. Without checking, she'll not give. Definitely she'll not give this. When we are doing the testing in our daily life, then definitely we do in a software testing. Next, what is system testing? So system testing, in short, it is ST. Don't get confused. For software testing also, we write ST. So system testing is a black box testing. System testing is a black box testing technique performed to evaluate the complete systems. Yes, students, just now I told, when you have a simple ATM example also, if you take right from the insertion of a ATM card to the till you take out the ATM card from the ATM machine, everything, each and every step we will check. So that is the system testing. So here the system testing is also known as black box testing, or we can say the black box. In black box testing, we check the system. We do the system testing. System testing is a black box testing technique performed to evaluate the complete system. So complete system we are evaluating. To evaluate the complete system, the system complies against a specified requirement, whatever the requirement we have specified. So whether it is working properly for the specified requirement, whether it is working, if registration form, a simple example I take, registration form. Before I give, I have developed that registration form for my customer or for my user. So the customer is having 500 students, so he wants to register 500 students. So I will tell him this project is capable of registering 1,000 students. When he takes the project, when he buys the project from me, and when he asks his students to do the registration, where if the project is capable of registering only 200 students. His requirement was what, students? For 500 students, my project should work. But what project I have developed? My project is restricted for only 200. Is it matching? Is it matching with the requirement? No, it is not matching with the requirement. So whatever the project I developed, so that should be it should be completely it should be evaluated. In case of system testing, it should be completely evaluated, and it should match with the specified requirement, whether it is capable of whatever the requirements I have given. In system testing, the functionalities of the system are tested. Yes, definitely. When I say when I, registration is one functionality. ATM machine, when you take ATM machine, first you will insert a card, that is one function. Then once a login ID and password is matching, or once the PIN number is successful matching, then the successfully login and it will go to the next page, whereas it contains the transactions like withdrawal, balance inquiry, mini statement, ಮತ್ತೇನೇನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ? Withdrawal, balance inquiry, mini statement. That's all. So after that, if you want to take a receipt, then it will ask, do you want receipt? Do you want receipt? It will ask, no. Hey students, experience idya nimge? Anybody have not visited ATM machine yet? ಆ ಥರ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ATM ಮಷಿನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ನಾನು ಅಂತ. I do only digital transaction. Anybody is like that? The students, anybody is like that? Till now I have not visited the ATM. Yaru illala?
No, ma'am.
So you
ma'am.
have to your experience that once you go to ATM machine, so it will ask, do you want a receipt or not? Yes, is that functionality is there? Idya?
Yes, ma'am. We have.
Okay. So if I say I want the receipt, then it will give the receipt. If I say I don't want the receipt, then it will not give you the receipt. So in system testing, the functionality of the system are tested from end to end perspective. See, each from beginning to the end, each functionality will be tested. And here I have some of the list. Yes, students, can you see this diagram, or you want me to zoom? Diagram kanasta idea?
Yes, ma'am. We can see.
Okay. So this diagram contains the types of system testing. So in types of system testing, we have some of the type, that is functional testing, interoperability testing, performance testing, scalability testing, stress testing, load and stability testing, reliability testing, regression testing, and regulatory and compliance testing. See, these are all the types of this software, system testing. These are all the types of system testing. A student, don't get confused. These are all not the types of software testing. Software testing types are though. These are all the types of system testing. So system, see, one thing you understand, once this system you consider as your project only. When you develop a project, when you develop what is the difference between a college website registration form and the Aadhaar card registration form? What is the difference? The students, what is the difference? What is the difference between, maybe the fields are same, assume that the fields are same. Then what is the difference between the college website registration form or the event registration form in a college and the registration form for Aadhaar card? Not even the registration form in the college and the registration form for the Aadhaar card. What is the difference? What are maybe the difference? Yes, students, you understood my question? So one registration form is for college students and the other registration form is for Aadhaar card. What is the difference? Any the difference? No difference? Both are same? Sometimes?
No, ma'am.
Then what is the difference?
In Aadhaar card, we have only father name, mother name, address, like that. In college, they will had ID, college ID,
So field difference.
like registration.
Field
Yes,
difference.
ma'am.
The functionality difference.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh? The function,
Yes, ma'am.
not the complete, slight. So maybe some of the fields are same. Maybe some of the fields are same, but some of the fields are different. Different. So is there a functionality difference?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Is there a functionality difference? And any other difference? Only the field difference? Yes, Chaitra? Only the fields? Here you have USN, phone number, semester, and there you have mother name, father name, address. Only this difference you have, Chaitra?
Yes, ma'am.
ಅಷ್ಟೇನಾ ಮತ್ತೇನು ಇಲ್ವಾ? The number of customers, number of users, this is very important, no? When you take a college registration, the number of users are limited. Correct, Alva? When you take an example of registration form for Aadhaar card, the number of registrations are huge. Alva? Yes, correct, no? So when you develop a project, you have to be very much careful how many users I'll get, because your project should sustain those many customers, those many registrations. Otherwise, what happens if your project is not capable of taking inputs from those many customers, then your system will crash. Agatalva? So that's why when you develop a project, everything you have to keep in mind. So this is the reason why here we are doing a system testing. In the system testing, we have some of the types, that is functionality, ಎಲ್ಲ functions correct work ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಇಲ್ವಾ, interoperability. What is this interoperability? hmm? Interoperability, what is this? Any idea? Performance, scalability, stress, load and stability, reliability, regression. Yes, students, in the next slides, here some of the points I have discussed in the next slide, and we'll see one by one. But here I have not mentioned interoperability. I'll explain it later. See, different types of system testing. Usability testing. In usability testing, mainly focuses on the users is to use the application. So whether the application is easily usable to the customer, whether it is useful to the customers, and whether it is flexibility in handling and controls and ability of the system to meet the objective. To meet the See, if you take example of Aadhaar card, in the Aadhaar card, what all the information I need is your name, your father name, your mother name, and your education, if necessary, your education, and your address. See, whatever the information is related for Aadhaar card, if that information, if they take, then it is valid, it is meeting their objective. If they in the Aadhaar card registration, if they take the information, what are your hobbies, is it a relevant information? Is it a relevant information? No, it is not a relevant information. So whatever the information they take, it should be relevant, and it should be flexible, it should have a flexibility. The students, some of the softwares, especially the government softwares, they work only in not all, some of the software, they work only in Internet Explorer, and most of the VTU softwares, VTU website, online applications will be there, no? they were only in Chrome. So like that restriction should not be there. Whatever the project you develop, it should have a flexibility. So I think that today is my today 12 o'clock is the last day to apply some job for some job, and now in my laptop I have only Internet Explorer. I don't have any other browser. So if they restrict, if that company restrict, I have to use only the Chrome, then it will be very difficult for me to apply for the job. Why? Because I have only Internet Explorer in my system. So like that restriction should not have, it should be flexible. It should be flexible in handling and if you see some of the projects or some of the forms, it will not be having proper navigations. What are the navigation students? The next button, the next button, and sometimes if in some applications you have to pay, you have to attach your photo. You have to attach your photo, and there they will restrict the size to 10 KB or 20 KB, like that they restrict. So if they restrict, and down they have to give, in some of the websites they will give, if you see the VTU website, when you apply for any exam. Recently I applied for my coursework, for PhD coursework exam. There, if I before I upload the photo, down they have given the message that the photo size should not be more than 10 KB or 20 KB. I don't remember exactly. It should be there. Only then I'll be able to upload my photo. If they don't mention, and if they put that restriction in the project, then I'll not be able to do it properly. Correct? No? Correct, Alva? So I'll not be, so my photo will not attach. I'll not understand what is my mistake. So simply my time will be wasted. So it should be flexible, and whatever the controls they are including, we should be able to use all the controls. Load testing. This is very much important. It is necessary to know that a software solution will perform under real life load. Yes, students, when you deploy your project in the website, we cannot assume that only 10 users will use my application, or 1,000 users will use my application, or 10,000 users will use my application. So when we deploy a project in the real life, or into the real time, then we cannot expect, or we cannot decide how many customers or how many users I'll get. So my project should be like that. It should be if 1,000 customers, or 10, or at a time more than one users will be using. So it should not create problem. So the load testing. So why, when it will not create a problem? So before I deploy the project to the customers, I have to do the load testing. So if in the load testing, if everything is working fine, if more than one user or more than 10 users logins at a time, then it should not create any problem. My project should be sustainable to withstand that load. So that's why we have to do a load testing. Regression testing. Regression testing involves testing done to make sure some of the changes made over the course of the development process have caused new bug. It also makes sure no old bug performs from the additional of the new software model over time. So when we develop a project, definitely in one shot it is difficult to develop a complete project without any error, without any modification. So once my project is complete, so sometimes I may get some other idea. And I want to enhance my project, or I want to do some changes my project. So what happens when I do the changes? That time a new bug may a new bug is nothing but error. A new error may occur. Correct? No? When we start developing a project, Correct, na students? So a new error may occur. So the new error, because of that new error, already my system is working properly. Yes, students, currently my system is working, my project is working properly, but I want to add some extra functionality. I want to add some extra functionality. When I add the extra functionality, that time some errors may be occurring to in the project. Those errors should not create problem to my existing project. Whatever the project is existing, and whatever the existing project is working fine, that existing project is working fine, there is no problem, there is no error. So once I enhance my project, once I do any changes in my project, it should not create, it should not make any problem to the existing project. Recovery testing recovery testing is done to demonstrate the software solution is reliable, trustworthy, and can successfully recover from the possible crashes. Sometimes if anything goes wrong, the system will crash. So my project should be capable of taking the should be capable of recovering the data, recovering. I just know I gave you the example of that registration form. So my project is capable of registering only 200, but how many users I have? I have 500 users. If 250 student, if more than 200 students start registering, then what happens? My project is not having that much of capacity to that it is not having to sustain that load, right? Because the capacity is limited, the capacity is low. So what happens here? Sometimes the system may crash. So sometimes the system may crash. So I have to provide a facility that whatever the data I have given, so I can whatever the data is already entered, so I can be able to take a recovery of my data. So should be it should the recovery of the data should be there in the in the project. So migration testing is done to ensure that the software can be moved from older system infrastructure to the current system structure without any issues. So one, now I have laptop in I have developed the project. I am using Windows 8 and I use Visual Studio 2010 in Windows 8. Using these, I will develop a project. So after 1 month, I'll take a new system. I'll buy a new laptop, that is Windows 10. The Visual Studio is 2019. So in that software also my project should work. When I enhance the tools, when I upgrade, not on enhance, when I upgrade my system, that time also my project should work properly. It should not create any issues. It should not create any problems. Okay, students, understood? Any doubt? Another doubt, Idya? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
So next we have functional testing and hardware software testing. Functional testing, also known as functional completeness testing. Functional testing involves trying to think of any possible missing functions. Yes, students, every time I give you an example, that is phone number example. Every time I give you a mobile number example, why I take mobile, how I test a mobile number is proper, whether that text field is working fine, or how I test 1 second. So how I test that functionality is I take one text box. To take a mobile number from the user. So my mobile number, it is most commonly known to all the non-computer science background people. Also know that the mobile number should be having a 10 digit, not less than 10 and not greater than 10. So here I give mobile number with 10 digit and I check I check whether it is working properly or not. So if why I check here is if I know I have developed this project, I have done the validation, so I am checking. If any non-computer science background people, if they come and they get confused, what happens? Instead of mobile number, they give the land phone number. They gave land phone number, and the land phone number is not having 10 digits, correct? No, 6 digits, 7 digits irutte. So that time they'll get a confusion. They'll be in a confusion. So my if they give a land phone number, then this field is not getting a correct input. Yes, correct. No, this field is not getting a correct input, so it may show some error. It may show some error. You have to give a correct mobile number, or your mobile number is not having a 10 digits, like that it will give. So here in functional testing, what we trying to do is um, anything is missing, any possibility to improve any. See, why we do functionality testing is whether it is working properly or not. If anything is missing, if anything is not done properly, only then we'll get a error, correct? No, only then we don't get a expected output. So to check whether everything is proper, if anything is not missing, to check that, we do the functionality testing. The tester might take a list of additional functionality that a product could have to improve it during the functional testing. Yes, students, what I do here, without any validation, I enter the mobile number. I enter the mobile number 90012 extra digits ಆಯ್ತು 231. Okay. So how many numbers it has? Each numbers, 9 numbers ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? So this purposely I'm not entering the wrong number. So by mistake, in a hurry, or by mistake, I am entering the wrong number. So when a tester, see, the tester has to check all this. By mistake, if any user is giving 9 numbers, then what happens? What happens? It will take the input, and it will take the data, but this is not a correct data. Here I have not done a proper validation, so I am not giving a error message. If this field is not taking a proper input, I am not giving a error message, so the user will not the user will not understand that he or she is doing mistake. If I display the error message, then they will realize, oh, something went wrong, I have to rectify. So in functionality testing, here a tester will do the testing, and while doing testing, this field is not taking a correct input, so he will make a list. So this mobile number needs some validation. And next area, name. Sometimes what happens is we give 1 2 3. Generally, when we run our program, generally 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, like that we give. So but it is a real time project. If it is a real time project, I cannot give my name as 1 2 3. No. So if I am giving a name, then it should take only the characters. So all this validation I have to do. So when I can be able to do, when I do the functionality testing, when I face these types of problems, only then I'll understand that these type of validation I have to do for my project. Hardware and software testing. So definitely, before we give a project to the customers, we have to check whether the project is working properly, whether the softwares are whatever the software I have used. So those software should not create a problem for the other software or other tools if you are using in your system. So we have to check hardware and software. So IBM refers to hardware and software testing as HW and SW testing. This is when the tester focuses on his or her attention to on the interaction between the hardware and software during the system testing. So during system testing, the tester will also put a focus on hardware and software. So these are all the software testing. So threads. So thread, I told whatever the functionality you execute, that is nothing but a thread. Addition of two numbers, that will be executed. That execution is nothing but a thread. Login to a website, that is also a running of a thread. So threads are hard to define. So he is telling that it is difficult to define about threads. So threads are hard to define. In fact, some published definitions are counterproductive, misleading, or wrong. So see, now I am telling addition of two numbers when I program, when I run that, that is also a execution of a thread. That is also one thread. Then few students will tell that in Java we have not learned that about, we have learned something different about threads. Yes, correct, no? You may think that I have not studied like this in Java programming, I have learned something else about the thread. So some may not be agreed whatever I am telling. So if everybody will different in a different way about thread. So that's why to define thread, it is hard or it is difficult. Some of the definitions which we have seen, those definitions are counterproductive, misleading, or wrong. So it is possible to simply uh, treat threads as a primitive concept that needs no formal definition. So for thread, there is no formal definition. For now, we will use some of the examples for thread. So which are the examples? A scenario of normal usage of any program or usage of any functionality, a scenario of normal usage, a system level test case, a system level test case, a stimulus or the response pair. See, these are all the some of the examples of threads. So these we can say, or you can say these things we can say as a threads. Why? Because in this paragraph, what they are telling is there is no proper definition to tell about threads. Some definitions are already published, those definitions are wrong. It may be wrong or it may be misleading. So it is possible to it is possible to simply treat threads as primitive concept that needs no formal definition. For now, we will use some examples to develop a shared version. Here we have several views of threads, that is a scenario of normal usage, a system level test case. See, system level test case means whatever the test cases we are writing. It may be registration form test case, it may be login credential test case, it may be balance inquiry test case, whatever the test cases we are doing in the system level. So stimulus response pair behavior that results from a sequence of system level inputs. So system, um, when I do testing, no, when I do testing, then without giving the input, I cannot do the testing. Correct, no? Whether I am checking for the registration or login credential, once I give the input, only then I'll come to know how the behavior. Without giving the input, I'll not understand the behavior of the system. So an interleaved sequence of both input output events. So these are all some of the examples. A sequence of machine instructions, a sequence of source instructions, sequence of path. So interleaved sequence of object message and method execution. So like this, you can define a thread in your own way. Okay, so any doubt? Any doubt? Students, I'll stop here. I'll stop here. Students, here I have completed fourth module, system testing. Next, we are left out with only one module, that is last module. See, this is the last module. Fault-based testing, planning and monitoring the process, documenting analysis and test. This is the last module. Students, I'll stop here. The next module I'll start in the next class. Yes, students, today's assessment link I have sent in the chat box. All of you attend the assessment. Attend the assessment. Answer attendance. Answer the assessment. Astha, Abhinav, Aishwarya,
Present, ma'am.
Ambrish,
Yes, ma'am.
Anu,
Present, ma'am.
Arbaz, Arjun,
Present, ma'am.
Ashok, absent. Vinita,
Present, ma'am.
Bhargavi,
Yes, ma'am.
Bhavisha,
Present, ma'am.
Chaitra,
Present, ma'am.
Dev, Diksha,
Present, ma'am.
Deepika L,
Present, ma'am.
Deepika M,
Present, ma'am.
Murli,
Present, ma'am.
Gangubai,
Present, ma'am.
Gudia,
Present, ma'am.
Harshit, absent. Singh, Ginger, absent. Kavya,
Present, ma'am.
Kishore.
Present, ma'am.
Kishore, you understood yesterday what I said you?
Yeah, ma'am. I will send it by post, ma'am, today.
Today.
I will send it, ma'am. Monday, I think it will come.
On the backside of DD, I told you write your name, USN, branch, and contact number.
Yeah.
Have you written?
Okay, ma'am.
Bartidya?
Yeah, written, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Lata? Lata, answer your attendance, Lata. Absent. Manisha? Manjunath? Nayana? Neelanjan?
Yes, ma'am.
Nishant? What happened to this boy? He is not attending classes. Pavitra?
Present, ma'am.
Maithili? Maithili? Absent. Priyanka?
Present, ma'am.
Pavan?
Present, ma'am.
Akash?
Present, ma'am.
Rajeshwari?
Present, ma'am.
Rakesh?
Present, ma'am.
Ramya?
Present, ma'am.
Rashmi?
Present, ma'am.
Ravi Shankar?
Yes, ma'am.
Why last two classes you didn't attend, Ravi Shankar? Rizwan?
Present, ma'am.
Vishal? Vishal? Absent. Savita?
Yes, ma'am.
Shruti?
Present, ma'am.
Sneha? Sneha? This girl also not attending. Spurti?
Present, ma'am.
Srinidhi?
Present, ma'am.
Srinivas?
Present, ma'am.
Sunil?
Present, ma'am.
Vaishnavi? Vaishnavi? Vaishnavi absent?
Present, ma'am.
Vinny?
Present,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay, okay. Vinny? Vinny is absent? Vinny absent. Yes, students, all of you attended the assessment. Huh?
Ginger,
Yes, ma'am.
Amage bandila.
my mic worker.
Harshit absent, Alva. Harshit absent. Deb, Asta, Abhinav, Arbaz, Ashok, Dev, Harshit, Lata, Nishant, Maithili absent, Vishal absent, Sneha absent, Vinny absent. Finished your assessment. Only 22 responses I got. What about the remaining students? Yes, students, any doubt? Any doubt, students? The system testing, yes, system testing is very important. Here in the system testing, we do all the types of testing. See here, interoperability. See, students, interoperability is nothing but the migration. Here we have seen the migration testing. See, in migration testing, what is happening is if I change, if I do any if I update my software, then it should not create any problem. So similarly, in this interoperability, if I change the operating system, if I change the operating system, now I'm using Windows 7, tomorrow if I use Windows 8 or Windows 10, then my project should not create any problem. My project should be operatable in all the operating system. Windows 7 al matra work agutte, Windows 8 al work agalla. It should not be like that. This stress is nothing but the load testing. Stress is nothing but the load. See here also we have a load, whether if more than the limited users are logged in, then it should be capable to hold. When it will be capable of holding more than the restricted customers, if I test properly, and if I give a flex, if I test properly before I give the software to the customer, I should check everything. If more than the in one at a time only 10 users can log in. if 11 users logins at a time, then what happens? What happens? So I have to check. No, I have to check. If I check only, then I'll come to know that what problem it will arise, and if any problem arise, what solution I can give to that problem. So everything I have to check before I give to the customers. So this is software testing. Okay, students, any doubt? Any doubt? All of you attended the assessment. Only 30 responses I got. No doubt? Okay, students, I'll stop here. See you in the next class.